you're a republic. He said, a republic if we can keep it. A republic if we can keep it. On that very day last week, that Tuesday, erupted this remarkable set of facts on Constitution Day. And it was about the IG, Inspector General, at the office of the Director of National Intelligence saying that there was a whistleblower complaint. And then we learned that it was going to be blocked from being presented and that the DNI was not going to allow it to come forward. So let me just say this. I am more experienced in intelligence than anybody in Congress. At least 25 years. I was a member of the committee. I was the top Democrat. I was the Adam Schiff. We didn't have the majority, so I was the ranking member. But that made me a member of the Gang of Four years ago, and then ex officio as leader and as speaker. So I had been there for the writing of the laws that allowed whistleblowers and further protections for them along the way. I was there to be part of writing the bill to establish the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. That's only since 2004. We didn't have it since then. And that office has its own Inspector General. This Inspector General was appointed by President Trump. Important difference, by President Trump, his own an appointee. The Inspector General are greatly respected for their independence, their objectivity, and the rest. And by law, when a complaint comes from a whistleblower, the Inspector General has 14 days to investigate, and then the Director of National Intelligence has 7 days to report it to the intelligence committees of the Congress. That is the law. It says shall. It doesn't say may, should. It says shall. And that's a very fraught with meaning word in legislation. But this administration is blocking the DNI from conveying that to the Congress, to the intelligence committees. The DNI is at the present time breaking the law at the direction of the administration. It's really unfortunate. So to the substance of we don't know. No,
well, we sort of do. I mean, the president has, in so many words, said that he's raised these questions with the Ukrainians, and he's in effect admitted that he's intervened on the quote-unquote Biden issue.
Well, again, and he has referenced that, and if that is the case, that the President of the United States would ask a foreign government to assist him in a political way, that would be wrong. Let me just say that everything we've been doing up until now is about preserving that republic that Benjamin Franklin said, republic if we can keep it. And and that means it's not a monarchy. And we have a system of checks and balances in our Constitution. 3 co-equal branches of government to be a check on each other. And that is a republic, is a democracy. It is not a monarchy. The president has said, Article 2 says I can do whatever I want. That is in violation of the spirit of the Constitution. Now, our founders wanted to provide for, shall we say, some activities that they might not themselves engage in, and they put up guardrails, but they never could suspect that a president of the United States would jump over those guardrails.
I want to widen out the aperture in a minute and talk about the whole of this presidency, but let me just stay on this for a minute. If what we're describing is accurate, and if it's not impeachable, if you're not willing to say that it's an impeachable offense, what is impeachable to you?
Well, let me just say that I'll be making an announcement at 5 o'clock today, not here right now. And that,
so you're more than welcome to make it right now.
It's really sad to think that a president would perform an impeachable offense. It's hard. You know, it's hard to say we've gotten to that place. But what would be an impeachable offense would be that which is proven in an investigation. investigation.
Right,
And
but
we have to have an investigation.
Calling for, convening a select committee on an impeachment is the beginning of a process, the beginning of the discovery process, not the end. So you don't have to have enough proof to convict at the outset of the process. And my question, I guess, is...
Well, you said is it an impeachable offense, and that is a verdict.
Given what we know and given what the president has said, I mean, the analogy here is crude, but we seem to be in a situation at the moment in which Richard Nixon, after the Watergate break-in, said something akin to, yeah, I broke into the Watergate, I needed to see what the DNC knew. I mean, Donald Trump says out loud what most people say to themselves. And so I'm not going to belabor this forever, but...
No, I think you are. The Nixon analogy. The president is making lawlessness a virtue in our country. In that call, he sort of is trying to explore it. So, understand that. So we have several concerns about the president in terms of our differences in policy, and I'd love to tell you about all the legislation we have passed that we're hoping the Senate will take up. Starting with gun violence, tomorrow we have a big Wear Black tomorrow, gun violence activities on Capitol Hill and beyond and around the country. So we have some differences in terms of policy. You might want to know the president called me this morning about gun violence. He said that we were getting close to a solution.
Open parenthetical. What is that call like on a day like today?
Somebody said to me last night, they said, give us a surreal moment about the president and your conversations with him. I said, it's more like it's always surreal. Give me a normal moment.
Was this a relatively normal call?
Yeah, well, they called to talk about gun violence, and then it segued into other things.
What those other things are?
Not right now. But I was concerned, just in terms of being global, that the president said, I have to get off the phone now because I'm going to go speak at the United Nations. And it's great. I mean, it's great here. It's great. So I didn't have a chance to listen to his speech. I was too busy so that I could have time to come here. But he said that he called upon the countries to reject globalism and embrace nationalism. Really? Really? So again, we have some serious policy differences, and in terms of multilateralism and who we are as a country. I'll tell you a story about me. When I was a young girl, I was a student and I went to President Kennedy's inauguration. It was freezing cold, it was so fast, it was much smaller on the east side of the Capitol, not the west side of the Capitol. I was a student at the time. And everybody in the world, and all of you are too young, but you read it in history books, knows that President Kennedy said to citizens of America, ask not what America can do for you, but what you can do for your country, right? Everybody knows that? Yeah. The very next sentence in the speech is what struck me, because I'm a student of political science and international relations. The very next sentence, he said, to the citizens of the world, ask not what America can do for you, but what we can do working together for the freedom of mankind. Freedom. With me was the working together, no condescension. It was working together, not what we do for you, but what we do together. And that multilateralism has been a source of our strength. So when I see the president's call for rejecting globalism and embracing nationalism, when I see him questioning our involvement in Article 5 of NATO and the rest, and I see his actions vis-a-vis Afghanistan, we went in together multilaterally, but he's coming out unilaterally, then you see why there's some cause for questioning among some of our allies.
There's
changing subjects of this.
Beforehand, she said she only wanted to discuss the cello, actually, so this is already a victory. But there is, according to what we're getting on the screen, there's a little bit of a, what you might call now a breaking tweet from the president, who says that tomorrow they will release a transcript of the Zelensky call. So my question to you is, if you see that transcript and it is more benign than we've been led to believe, do you think that your caucus might stand down a little bit, or do you think that the caucus is at a boil right now? I mean, you're going to find out.
No, it's not about that. This is about the Constitution of the United States, and we have many other, shall we say, candidates for impeachable offense in terms of the Constitution. But this one is the most understandable by the public. And it's really important to know this. There is no requirement there be a quid pro quo in the conversation. If the president brings up, he wants them to investigate something, that's of his political opponent. That is self-evident that it is not right. We don't ask foreign governments to help us in the election. That's what we try to stop with Russia. It's wrong. So it's not only about how to make decisions about our foreign policy and our global security, it's about undermining the integrity of our election, A. B, I don't think there's a grasp on the part of this administration that the quid pro quo is not essential to an impeachable offense. But if you have sequencing, like a couple of days before, the president withdrew the bipartisan support for Ukraine, bipartisan enthusiastic support for Ukraine. A few days earlier, he withdraws it, then makes this statement. The president's words weigh tons, and just bringing up the election is bad enough. That there would be a quid pro quo isn't necessarily in the conversation, but in the sequencing. So this is not a good thing for a democracy, for the leader of the free world to be talking like that. And I don't even know if there are any scruples involved. That's why I say they think lawlessness is a virtue, and now they want to export it to another country.
If I may, it sounds as if you believe that this is a very, very serious offense.
Now, let's just put it this way. I accepted this invitation a while back.
I'm just noting as an observer in this conversation.
And I come every year, right?
More or less.
When I'm invited, I come when I'm invited because since I was in high school, I read The Atlantic Monthly. And they always taught us, if you want to know how to write, you have to read good writing. Let's hear it for The Atlantic.